My mama said, only the strong survive. My mother's destiny of spiritual strength is intricately intertwined with my womanist journey. In fact, she was my inspiration for writing Only the Strong Survive, a Womanist Journey. While pregnant with me in 1963, my mother, Queen Esther Ward Barnett, was in a near fatal car accident. Because of the pregnancy, doctors could not operate on her to correct the resulting spinal cord injury. I believe this was the source of the incredible pain my mother experienced for the second half of her life. In fact, during my childhood in the Bahamas, Mommy was on her deathbed 3 times. On one of those occasions, Mommy called each child to her bedside to give her final words of wisdom. By the time my 3 older sisters, Odette, Zoe, and Omath, said goodbye to Mommy, I was crawled up in a fetal position with tears streaming down my face. I was crying uncontrollably at the thought of my beloved mother leaving us. Mommy was everything to the 8-year-old me. She was the most elegant, stylish, and beautiful woman I know. I admired her trademark hair scarves, which later became neck scarves, and promised to wear them when I grew older. Mommy was kind to strangers and family members alike. Mommy always spoke about other people's virtues. She saw the good in everyone. Well, just about everyone. While most people envision God as a father figure, I have always thought of God as my divine mother. On what we thought was her deathbed, Mommy tenderly held my hands between her slender fingers and barely whispered, Shorty, only the strong survive. My mother was definitely one of the strong ones. After that experience, she went on to live another 35 plus years. I am so touched by my mother's spiritual, intellectual, and emotional strength that I named my book after her advice, Only the Strong Survive, a Womanist Journey. In the Coffee Table Anthology, I write bios and include stunning artwork of ancient goddesses and contemporary women who overcame tremendous struggles to not only survive, but also thrive and make a positive impact in their communities. I write about women from all major continents and from antiquity to the present, including mathematicians, scientists, activists, queens, and leaders, and ordinary women with extraordinary destinies, including the following. Queen Moremi Ajezero of the Yoruba nation of Nigeria, Madragana bint Alejandro, the Moorish ancestor of Queen Elizabeth II, Osset, the Kemetic or ancient Egyptian goddess of womanhood and motherhood, Celia Cruz, the Grammy Award winning singer from Cuba, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Hadassah, or Queen Esther of the Jewish faith, Hajjah, the mother of Prophet Ishmael of Islam, Samsin Halmoni, the Korean goddess of childbearing and faith, Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess of wealth and purity, Queen Liliuokalani of Hawaii, Kedist Mariam, the Ethiopian name for the mother of Christ, Queen Nani of the Maroons in Jamaica. My first conscious recollection of my mother's spiritual strength and fortitude when I was only 2 years old. At the time, we lived in a small house near Mother's Club Nursery School, where I was a student, and more Candy's Kitchen, where Mommy stopped to get me a treat after school every day. The sweet smelling candy store still stands on Hill Street in Nassau today. We lived in the valley below. As the first woman photojournalist at both the Nassau Guardian and the Tribune newspapers in the Bahamas, Mommy drove a stylish Fiat convertible to her assignments, including photos of Queen Elizabeth II, the first Bahamian Governor General, Sir Milo Butler, the first Black Premier, Sir Lyndon Pindling, and many other world leaders. One stormy afternoon, I remember hearing the Fiat pull up to the house. Mommy ran from the pouring rain into our tiny home and quietly told my older sisters to pack their favorite clothes and supplies. Quickly, quickly. Mommy hardly spoke above a whisper. However, we could detect the panic in her voice. One of my elder sisters carried me out in the torrential rain. I remember hearing the rolling thunder and seeing lightning flashes as we hurried into our Fiat convertible. It was raining so hard that the water almost came through the car windows. Mommy sped us to safety with the convertible top up, of course. We were safe from the ravages of Hurricane Betsy of 1965. Sadly, Mommy lost all of her worldly possessions that day: house, furniture, historic photos, kitchen supplies, and most of our clothing. She never cried about the materials that we lost in the devastating winds and rain of change. That took strength, faith, and courage. My dear mother lived in intense pain for the rest of her life after the 1963 car accident when she was pregnant with me. As a pain management strategy, Mommy ritually bathed in NASA's crystal clear blue ocean at sunrise. Some mornings I was lucky enough to wake up in time to join my mother in the healing salt water. She often had a melon with her, a honeydew, watermelon, or cantaloupe. Mommy would sit on the sand with her legs outstretched into the vast turquoise sea. She would scoop out the seeds and sweet fleshy fruit with her right hand, then with both hands gently bathe her entire body, beginning with her face and stretching all the way to her feet. Talk about a balm in Gilead. Mommy's doctors also prescribed Valium and other opioids for the pain. She took the pills when I was a college graduate, so for about 22 years. I was so proud of Mommy when she woke up one morning and announced, "I'm not taking those pills anymore." She flushed the medications down the toilet, and that was it. Mommy quit smoking cigarettes the same way. My brave mother successfully quit using opioids and smoking cigarettes after being addicted to them for decades. No rehab, no withdrawal symptoms, just pure spiritual strength. Decades later, after we had all moved to Miami, Mommy called my cell phone one afternoon to say she just had a stroke. I responded, "Mommy, if you really had a stroke, you wouldn't be able to call me." In any case, I was already on my way to visit her, so I continued my journey. Taking no chances, Mommy also called my sister Zoe. We both met at our sister Omat's home. The ambulance Zoe called had put Mommy on the stretcher and was loading her into the emergency vehicle when I arrived. Dr. Anthony Hall, the neurosurgeon at Northside Hospital, confirmed that Mommy had indeed suffered a devastating brain aneurysm. It still baffles me how Mommy had the wherewithal to pick up the phone and dial our numbers from a landline while her brain was literally bleeding. Mommy temporarily lost the senses of speech, sight, sound, touch, and the ability to walk. Zoe, Omath, and I were by Mommy's side around the clock when she was well enough to relocate to a rehabilitation hospital. Physical, occupational, and recreational therapists worked with my sweet mom for several months as she pushed herself to regain the ability to see, speak, hear, feel, and move about so she could independently care for herself. Mommy was thrilled when she was once again able to make her own cup of morning tea. After the aneurysm, Mommy went on a whirlwind of world travel. She traveled with me and my older sisters, Nola and Moremi, to Nigeria. My sister Omath took Mommy all over the United States and to Canada, the Kingdom of South Korea, and on cruises to Mexico and the Dominican Republic. Mommy even traveled alone to England to visit her niece, Bertha. I vividly remember the moment my mother first regained her vision and speech. Mommy's husband, Bob, and almost all of her 7 children were by her hospital bedside. We talked to her and chatted with each other in quite a lively way. Mommy never opened her eyes or gave any indication that she was aware of our presence. Then, my cousin Eddie, an accomplished pianist, entered the room. Mommy opened her eyes and smiled softly. "Eddie," she adoringly whispered, "do you still play the piano?" Mommy touched her nephew's face and smiled, that sweet smile that melts away all cares. Only the strong survive.